candid conversations, unfiltered opinions, and humor with AVAG Beck's podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode. Today, I have the pleasure of having Mr. Kunal Desai with us. Mr. Kunal is the co-founder of Meal Deals, and he'll tell us all about that. I mean, food is great. Let's find out how we can get a deal out of it. So I'm so grateful you made time to be with us, Kunal. Hi.
Hi, Douglas. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Pleasure to be on here.
Thank you. Thank you. We love that you're here. So tell us about Meal Deals.
Okay. So Meal Deals is a global marketplace that helps connect restaurants and diners by allowing restaurants to showcase any messaging they want in real time that's relevant to us. So by visiting a simple website, which is mealdeals.app, we built this amazing complex web application that once you allow your location, it automatically filters through the database of all the information and shows you all the relevant food and drink specials for you based on day of the week and time of the day. So I'm in Toronto, Canada. That's where our company was founded. So everything that I see on Meal Deals right now when I open it is for Tuesday lunch, because it's Tuesday lunch. For depending upon where you may be in the world, it'll automatically showcase and show you relevant search results. And why that's important and why we built this is because a lot of restaurants use social media ads to promote their offerings or their restaurant. They'll have signs outside their restaurant or posters or digital signs promoting menu items and other agenda that they want to showcase. And there's no real way that they could really showcase things like this in a way that is relevant and time sensitive for the user. Because when you come across a social media post or a social media ad, you may not be close to the restaurant. It may not be the day or the time of the week when the offer is available for redemption. It may not be relevant to you because so many times social media platforms show ads outside of the search radius of where the restaurant is located. So some of that content and richness of information gets lost. And then the way that we engage with the world, and part of the reason why, you take on the initiative such as having this show is that we're so into our mobile devices nowadays that we don't really engage and interact with the world. We don't converse with the world. So what Meal Deals does is, since people are already on their phone, we're going, hey, why don't we show them what your local coffee shop or lunch or sandwich spot or local restaurant has for lunch or dinner or what they're offering today so that you could go into the restaurant, go into the diner and engage with them. So we build this as a way to be a purely advertising platform that gives restaurants or the hospitality business complete control on how they want to showcase their message to their customers in real time, with the goal being, okay, how can we allow users to redeem some of these amazing offers by walking into restaurants or supporting local businesses and give them a safe way to do it. Safe in that it's simple, it's affordable, it's fast and easy. So with as little as 2 touches on their cell phone, a restaurant can toggle a feature or a promotion on or off or control its messaging to its users in real time based on how busy they are. So a very powerful dynamic platform. And then for the users, it's completely free. There's no login required, no signups. You don't have to download anything. We don't track you except for just some basic Google Analytics so we can use it to enhance and improve the performance of the platform in itself. So it's extremely user-friendly. And we've only been around for 10 months. We officially launched April 1st of 2024. And in April, our traffic was about 5,500 active users.
Right.
In January, we're at 1.1 million active users. So 200x growth in 10 months. Thank you. I appreciate your celebration with us.
Woohoo!
Yes, ma'am. And we're in 53 countries, probably more than 53 now, have over 58,000 restaurants on there with information for users. So a very useful utilitarian tool for us as consumers to not just save money and see what's out there, but so many times we're so blessed, so many of us, on what do I want to eat? And that's a challenge that I face more frequently than I would, than I need to, which is a wonderful luxury and problem to have. Mm-hmm. So sometimes by going on Meal Deals, it eases that concern or challenge of mine, where just by going on there, I'm like, okay, look, within a 1 kilometer radius or a 2 kilometer radius of me, or if you're in the US, 1 mile or 2 miles of me, There's all these amazing food up choices available. Boom. I've made my decision. I've saved some money. I'm supporting a local business by hopefully walking in, because even a franchise is still run by a family. It's not run by the head office, most locations anyways. So it gives you a really great way to engage and interact with local restaurants.
I love it. For somebody that travels, we were just in Canada on August of last year. We were actually in New Brunswick. The one thing that there was no need for me to do this. However, I'm always curious. I love traveling. I was curious about the African restaurants that were in the area. So is this something that is very useful in the sense where if I say travel to Hong Kong and I just want to see or have some African cuisine, I can look to see what African restaurants are in close proximity? Is that something that can work that way?
Absolutely. And, we built it with that intention by being a global app. Our objective was that when you travel, you don't just use it when you're at work or at home and trying to figure out what the daily deals are. If you're anywhere in the world, you can open it up and see what local restaurants are there. Yes, there's directories and there's Google and there's other platforms where you can find this. But what Meal Deals does is it makes it seamless. So you can cuisine search or filter search by type of restaurant. So let's say if you're looking for a specific type of African cuisine, if you wanted Ethiopian or Nigerian or Ghanaian or Suya or anything that you were looking for, you can filter by those various preferences that you have. And it automatically shows you all the relevant results near you. We've added segregations and sections for date night. So if you're going on a date, or if you're taking somebody out beforehand, you can see, what kind of features are available on any night of the week. So it doesn't have to be very expensive to go out on date nights. On birthday, we have a birthday section. So you can literally walk around the world on your birthday and just see what kind of cool stuff is up for redemption all near you, right? So giving you access to information like this is so useful. And there's a flurry of requests and information online on public discourses of people asking for offers or deals. There's lots of forums that people log into to post and share announcements. But a lot of times those are shared by users, that those are crowdfunded where people will share offers. With Meal Deals, what's revolutionary is the restaurants get to showcase all of this in real time. So depending upon where they're located, or even if you're a franchise, or even if you own multiple locations, you can tailor each restaurant's marketing to its individual neighborhood, because every restaurant is going to have a certain type of behavior based on where it's located, even though it may be the same brand. So it gives the restaurant owner that much granular control. And at the same time, let's say if you're lucky enough where if you have a company that's nationwide, you can manage the marketing for all 1,000 stores in just the same amount of time as you can for one store. So we built it for that scalability in mind, to allow a wide range of use cases, from restaurants we have restaurants such as that just take cash as their only exchange. And then we have restaurants where dinner for two is $500 and everyone in between, right? Because again, Meal Deals, our name is not necessarily for deals. It's just a fun place for restaurants to advertise. And deals is a value proposition, right? Everyone loves to showcase and feature value that they offer. So that's our play on words. So yeah, we're all over the world. And our objective is that when you're visiting a friend, or if a friend is visiting you, or if you're going out or you're traveling and you just want to, just someday you're like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like making a decision today, or I'm in between paychecks. And, we eat every day. So especially if you're traveling, yes, there's going to be a bucket list of places or restaurants you're going to want to go to. You're going to have your favorites. And those we're not replacing. You're never going to replace. That's where the connection, the value, the food, the community comes in. But given that most of us eat 2 to 3 times a day, there's going to be some times where you could be at a slight impasse or indecisiveness on, hey, what do I want to eat today? And that's where Meal Deals becomes a wonderful, valuable tool to just filter, showcase a few things. And our restaurant partners, they're all local companies. We don't charge commissions, so they love it when you go and walk in.
Nice. That is so nice. So the one thing that I'm really thinking of is like hotel life gets very boring very quickly, right? When you're eating the same food, if you're not really, out and about and you're kind of like eating the same thing 2 days in a row, you're looking at the same menu and if you're staying for a week, it gets quite hectic. So it's great to have options when you travel, like, okay, what Vietnamese food is around here? I love pho. Or what Indian restaurants can I get my next garam masala from? Whatever it is, right? So my mouth is watering just thinking about it. So
I'm glad I joined it after lunch, so at least I saved myself that agony.
so this is all good and great. But the one thing that I keep thinking about is that where is your primary source of data, pulling from, because this is all real time stuff, right? Pulling these restaurants into meal deals. Do you, even for the mom and pop restaurant that you mentioned that only accept cash, does a business or a restaurant have to have a digital footprint to be able to be visible or get pulled into meal deals? Or do you have a way you circumvent, say, digital footprint? Because in this day and age, it is important to have a digital footprint, even if it's just a Google page, right? So, yeah, could you speak to that, please?
Absolutely. And I love it. So the first thing you mentioned about hotels, we're in talks with getting in touch with a lot of hotel chains where they could just put the meal deals QR code in their hotel rooms. So because, traditionally when you would stay at hotels, they would have a little folder where they would post some local restaurants and features.
Right.
Because you can get fatigue of eating the same food when you've been at the restaurant or the hotel for an extended period.
Right.
So with meal deals, by having a simple QR code, you just scan it, it opens up any website on any browser, and boom, doesn't matter which hotel you're at. Now you can the hotel can choose to showcase and feature all the local restaurants near it. So thereby further enhancing the guest experience and hopefully alleviating some stress from the concierge, because now you're not necessarily asking them, hey, where do I want to go? Because they'd probably be like, hey, check out meal deals. Meal deals is something really useful.
Yeah.
And like I said, the digital footprint of a business is essential in 2025.
Yeah.
With AI coming in and starting to weave into the fabric of our day-to-day sort of behaviors now. AI is large language models. And I use language as a placeholder for any form of data. So language can be text, can be images, can be videos, can be any form of content. They're large data models. A lot of these data models are fed from content that is available online. So it's very important to have your content online so that you can be found in this AI world, enhance the contribution to the AI algorithms, make your businesses more relevant. People are spending more times on their phones now. Yeah. So almost everything they search for is in a digital way. And with meal deals, a restaurant doesn't need to have a digital presence in order to be on meal deals. That's the most beautiful part. So the way it works is, so for us, for users, you just type in mealdeals.app in any browser. It could be on your phone, tablet, computer, it could be at work, and voila, you're done. And for the restaurants, similarly, all they do is you just type in their dashboard URL. So we have a partner dashboard that restaurant owners log into to manage and control all the messaging in real time on the meal deals front end to the users. And they just type in partner.mealdeals.app, log in there. And with that, they can create their own digital page for their restaurant. We've made it easy for them to upload all their menus. There's no charges for this. So we give them server space. We automatically generate QR codes for their menus and restaurants if they want to advertise. We allow them to add catering. We allow them to add their third-party links. So if they use Uber Eats, DoorDash, Skip, Deliveroo, Zomato, some of these are global brands that I'm mentioning here. It doesn't matter what affiliation they have. They can embed those links in there. They can add their social media links. They can add links to their own proprietary apps, because that's a behavior that a lot of restaurants are going towards. So we've made it so that on the restaurant page, it's very complete. A restaurant can effectively communicate all the messaging that they want to their consumer in a way which is much faster than building a website. Sure, because it's on meal deals, some of the representation of the information is going to be according to a template that we have on our platform that we feel just maximizes the user experience. But so they can completely take their business digitally by just creating a free restaurant page. There's no fees for this. So it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, you have a web page now that you can use. And then because Meal Deals is a marketplace and we have so much content and so much traffic and relevant information for users, we naturally rank high in search algorithms. That's part of the reason why we've grown so fast, is because of the fact that Google notices that when people are on Meal Deals, They can call the restaurant from there. They can ask for directions from there. They can see their menus from there. They can directly order from Meal Deals, because when you click on order here, if the restaurant has put its ordering app link, it directly opens up the ordering interface that the restaurant wants to use, right? So we've made it so seamless to transition the restaurant's customer to engaging with the restaurant in whatever way the restaurant chooses the customer engages with them using the Meal Deals platform. That search engines appreciate the clarity of information and the quality of information we have on there. So we automatically rank high. So if you were to search certain restaurants, you would see the Meal Deals page for that restaurant show up in your search results, right? So it's a really wonderful way for the family restaurants, the mom and pop restaurants, the cash only businesses, folks that don't necessarily have, that are so focused on making amazing food and just creating such a wonderful atmosphere, that this becomes a very easy way for them to go online. And then to post content on Meal Deals, if anyone is using social media, which most businesses nowadays do use it, because again, social media is a marketplace. That's why when you search for a business, you see their Instagram link or their Facebook link, because that's what is a highly promoted media, right? It's a place where a lot of content is available. So a restaurant can copy and paste information from their social media post into Meal Deals in less than a minute. So we built it so that there's no additional work required, right? Hence we use It's Safe, simple, affordable, fast, and easy, because it was designed to completely take a restaurant online in a matter of minutes, enhance their online visibility, increase their search index, and then by being highly found on search engines using the Meal Deals relationship, leverage that Meal Deals search power to showcase any message you want to your users in real time. Because that's one of the things that's proprietary of our platform is we allow restaurants, we don't control what they show, we don't determine what is a good offer, what is a bad offer, because again, every business case is unique. And what we really want is long run success for all our restaurant partners, and to give our users valuable information so they know how to engage with their community without having to put in too much work.
That is mind blowing. It's so simplistic in nature, but it shows that it works. From your growth data, it shows that it is actually working. You're not just blowing smoke. From April 1st to January, we're still in January, it's not even February yet, right? You still have months to go, and you've 10x your growth.
200x in terms of
user. 200, oh my goodness, 200x your growth. And that is mind blowing. As you were talking about the smaller businesses, and I do know people that I'm like, this will be great for them, the private caterers, right? And these are people that actually put their heart and soul into cooking. They make incredible meals. However, because it's mostly word of mouth and referral, they don't have the capital to grow. They will love to not work the jobs that they're working to sustain them, rather focus on their food business. And this will be so great because when it comes to reviews, that's not going to be a problem because of the relationship they built over time. When it comes to those pictures, when you're talking about social media, they have them, right? So imagine being seen on, the world stage when, say somebody's coming into town, they're trying to throw a quick party together. They don't know where to go. They go on Meal Deals and like, oh, this is a private caterer that can get something together in 2 days, in 24 hours. How sweet is that? Like, I can see the business opportunity, not just the growth for Meal Deals, but the business opportunities for people who are actively doing their thing,
Thank you. And, you hit the bullseye there. It's a wonderful way, because we're so time sensitive in our presentation of information. And let's say if Taylor Swift concerts were coming to town and, while the Eras tour is going on, you can program your content and your message to show within a time frame at a certain time of the day, determine only when it'll be shown. So because you have all that modular level control on how you want information to be shown, if you're a catering business, you can easily promote and showcase set menus on there, any features you have on there. If you just want a database to upload some content where you can be like, okay, look, scan this code, use this site, it links to my restaurant page, things like that, perfect. Even better use case, food trucks. Food trucks are mobile. If you're going to be in a different part of the city,
Right.
You have a Meal Deals profile. All you do is you update the address on Meal Deals. So now let's say if you're in downtown Toronto today, the people in downtown will see your food truck.
Right.
Tomorrow, if you're in the suburbs, you update your address to the suburbs know that you're there, right? Then what we do on Meal Deals is for all the pro customers that we have, because that's how we monetize. We charge the restaurants a small fee to get access to the full paid feature. Then it's our goal to promote them. So let's say if a catering business signs up, and if they're like, hey, you know what, we're going to be doing some good catering promotions to grow our business, or there's events coming up, or there's some packages we're putting out trying to capture seasonality or any timing related benefits you could take, our team promotes that. So we promote that on banners on Meal Deals. We promote that on our social media. We buy ads for users, because what we do is we're a large scale aggregator marketing machine. So by having thousands of restaurants on here, it becomes very easy for us to co-advertise our partners, right? So if I advertise your business, for example, and if there's a neighbor of yours, let's say you serve African food, and there's a neighbor of yours who sells pho, right? Both of you benefit from either of you being advertised on there, because as a user, when I go on Meal Deals, you're so different in your offering. I'm not going to want suya or pho on the same. So again, I want them both in the same
You
deal.
might.
I mean, if they can do the suya pho, then I mean, now I could definitely do something like that. But otherwise, I may have to, in that meal, pick and choose one or the other. But I get to see both, right? And then by getting a lot of eyeballs, it's a common proven fact. There's lots of data around this, and the data varies anywhere from 6 to 20. And what that is the number of impressions a user takes before they make a purchasing decision. They need to see a brand at least 6 times, anywhere up to 20 before they make a purchasing decision, even as simple as food. So what Meal Deals does is it keeps giving the users that repetition of impression. You're always there. Because if you're a new restaurant that's opened up in your community, and if you're on Meal Deals, everyone that goes on Meal Deals in your community is going to see your restaurant, whether or not they want to see you. Just that's the way, because we show results based on proximity. So if you're closest to me, you're automatically going to be shown first every single time. And how many times will I see you before someday I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? Let me pay him a visit, see what all is
Try this out.
right? And then at that point, if you can walk in, if your food is lovely, your service is lovely, the experience was wonderful, and you've got a lifetime customer, the value of that lifetime customer is in the thousands of dollars. Because if they're eating at your restaurant even once a month, which is reasonable, right? If you're a close by place, they like you, once a month for a quick lunch or something, and they're spending $20 on a visit, right? That's $240 a year. 12 visits a year times 20 a month. And let's say if you're going to be around for, this guy lives in the community for 5 years and supports you, 240 times 5 is $1,000, $1,200 from one customer on the most basic mathematical assumption. That's assuming they don't bring friends in. They don't recommend that spot to their lunch colleagues now. Like that's think about how many times we find places because somebody tells us, hey,
absolutely. I was going to say that is rare, because if you find a place that one, the food is great, the atmosphere is palpable in a good way, and it just gives you a good feel, you're going to recommend it. You're going to inadvertently be an affiliate marketer for that restaurant.
Right? And then you'll get the regular benefits. It's funny. One of our customers, actually, this restaurant around the corner from our office, and I live close to our office, so from my home as well, it's called Urban House. Now, I'm not a big drinker, and their storefront looks very much like a pub. Urban House, they always have drink specials outside. So I would walk by this place all the time, never even going in. Because again, I'm not a drinker. I'm not going into a darkly lit food hall. It's just, again, just naturally, I wouldn't gravitate towards it.
Right.
And one day I'm out walking, I see a friend of mine out there for lunch. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing over here? Like, 1:30, this guy's sitting out on the patio eating lunch at this place that I assume is nothing but a watering hole. And he's like, dude, Urban House is a legend. This place is the greatest food ever.
A watering hole is deep.
That has their full kitchen available till 1 a.m. So you want to eat like a proper meal at 12 a.m. or 12:30 in the morning? There's only one place in the community that serves you food, and it's spectacularly tasty. I'm of Hindu origin, religious-wise, so I'm family. We don't do anything Christmas. I celebrate my Christmas with them. I've never had stuffing so good. I know you're dying of laughter, but just to tell you that I would never even have found this gem of a restaurant
Right.
And now when I walk by, if anyone's ever looking at Urban House deciding to eat or not, I'm like, trust me, just give them a shot. Like, try the food once. I guarantee you, even when I go in, I'm blown away. I talk to the owner all the time. I'm like, Peter, how do you afford these prices? Because like, I'll go in there and I'll eat I'll commit gluttony and I'll be $40. And I'm like, how did I eat all this food? And and it's tasty food, well made, everything made from scratch, made with love. Everybody knows you, right? So it's that benefit that Meal Deals provides, which is very hard to quantify. And a lot of times when you're running ads, this is almost like, we ran a marketing company for a very long time as me and my partner Mario before we found Meal Deals.
Right.
So we do have a very robust learning experience and working experience in the domain. Mario's been a developer for advanced programmer for more than 20 years. So he's really seen technology evolve along the way.
So he's the tech brain of the company. You're the marketing brain of the company.
Honestly, he is like more than the tech brain. I'm just lucky that, like, we always joke. I'm like, Mario, I'm so lucky. I count my graces that the Lord connected the two of us.
I love it.
And I don't know why he chose me. I always joke. I'm like, I don't know why he chose me to be a partner, but I'm thankful for it. And I'm along for the ride because, he's like, him and his team are the one who built this platform, everything that happens. And my job is very easy. I just send off emails saying, I actually call him Doc, a doctor, because he just fixes problems. And I'm like, hey, Doc, this ain't working, right? That's effectively my job is not so much. So everything that goes on effortlessly, smoothly, that's all him. I'm just very lucky.
Thanks, Mario.
Thank you. Yes. And when he listens to this, he's gonna smile when he hears a thank you from me as well. Because I'm just here enjoying the wave you've created, and we've built a little.
You're doing a great job enjoying that wave. You keep riding it. You're good.
I know. I just hope that, I was lucky enough. I'm like, Doc, we're going to be partners in this, and he bought into it. So
that's cool. So that was going to be my next question. Where were you before now, and how has that experience shaped you as a co-founder? Again, we all start somewhere. We all start education-wise, corporate America-wise, all of that stuff. I'd like to hear your story.
It's funny. I'm like one of those textbook, like a fun textbook story of that. So I have an undergrad in economics, and I'll give you a little bit of a history lesson of sorts on myself as well. I was born in India, in Mumbai. My family immigrated to Canada when I was 15. So I had the luxury of doing some high school in North America, doing first year college back in India again, and then university and such in North America. So very lovely to have the diversity. Growing up in India, I already spoke 2 languages, Hindi and Gujarati, my mother tongue and the national language, and then English, obviously. So being trilingual right off the back is a very nice luxury to have. Right. And then in India, math and science are heavily emphasized. So I was very fortunate to have a good fundamental base in those skills that were almost forced. And it's funny, I failed. You're going to laugh about this because I'll when I say it later.
I think this is more relatable than you think. Continue.
I failed grade 5 or grade 6 math. I can't even believe it, right? And then I have a master's in financial economics. It just goes to show you that testing, all of that doesn't quite translate, but it's nice to do it. Family comes here. I get an undergraduate in economics. I go to this university called McMaster, and I get kicked out after 3 years because I'm so into partying. I don't go to class. Like, I'm just not into... I'm not ready for responsibility. I'm not adulting, right? I'm having a good time. And having a good time has consequences, which...
A little too hard.
Right? And the consequences of your actions take time sometimes to develop.
Yeah.
The things you're learning. And I knew I was having a good time when I would go to my class. I would see a bunch of friends, and they'd be like, you're in this class? And I'm like, that's how infrequently I was in class. Or one time I was in class, and I had a gentleman sitting next to me, and I look at him and I'm like, hey, what do you think of this class? And my friend nudges me and she's like, dummy, that's our professor. Because I walked in that day when we had a guest lecture. So there was somebody speaking up on stage. So I didn't even realize. And the professor just happened to sit next to me. And he just smiles at me. Because again, it's first year university, right? Completely demonstrating my lack of sincerity and care for actually giving in work, which is wonderful. These are all life lessons that I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun learning, experiencing them. Not a lot of fun ex post going through the penances, but the experiences are quite joyful. So I get kicked out after 3 years in undergrad because obviously focus and effort is not there.
Yeah.
And then I got reinstated after 2 years. And during those 2 years, I worked all kinds of jobs. I worked with agencies doing some labor work. I worked with agencies doing some office administrative kind of tasks. And one of the things I realized is that, if I don't get my act together, then I'm going to really limit what options are going to be made available to me. Because even within companies, you can start anywhere in an organization. And if you show dedication and sincerity, you will rise to the top. And there's countless examples of sincerity, hard work, and care, genuine care being rewarded. And if you do it for the reward, then it's going to be a little bit more salty because you may not always get a reward you expect. But if you do it for the love of the process, you're going to be rewarded in so many more ways than one. And I was lucky enough where, and then I started taking on some martial arts and things like that. So I'm a large man. So as a large man, who never really has been physically humbled in his life, it's very also nice to get humbled in all capacities and all facets of life. So you fully understand just how hard you have to work, that nothing is given. Some people are lucky enough to experience this earlier on. I had to go through some hardships to get this, but I was lucky enough where the hardships were wonderful teachers. So anyways, I got kicked out. And then after a couple of years, I decided, I'm like, hey, I have to go back and finish my education, finish my degree. By the way, the hardest part of all of this was relaying to my parents that I got kicked out. The actual fact, the experiences of all of that was not even the issue. The issue was relaying this information to people that cared and loved about me, that this is the decisions that I'd taken that had led to the consequences that now I have to share with them and how much pain it caused them. Yeah. That was probably one of the hardest things that came out of this. But anyways, after 2 years, I get reinstated back into my university. And I'm so lucky. They reset my average to 0. So all my friends who I started school with, they all graduated. And, we all had fun. So we all had every letter grade on our transcript. And everybody graduated well. They're happy and successful in their life. But I got the grand privilege of restarting from 0 with a 2-year head start because they gave me 2 years worth of credits. So I only had to do 2 more years of schooling to get a full degree with almost no recourse for my past actions. And my little bit of age, maturity, focus of why I wanted to do this was definitely, I think, great help in this. Right. And I graduated summa cum laude, which is the highest honor you can get. So perfect GPA, to the point where I remember I got called in by the dean one time and she was like, what happened to you? Because the same kid who's deferred exams and trying to pull every scam in the book to stay in school is now just dominating to a point where the dean is reverse calling me. Before I had to make an appointment to request why I want to stay in school. Now they're like, what happened to you, man? How did you just turn this around from an F to an A+ overnight? What happened? So it's in you. It's just, you have to put in the work. And I did put in the work. I spent a lot of time in the library, a lot of time learning. I'd go to class, sit in the front row and learn. And you know what? Professors started knowing who I was. I didn't even have to tell them what my name was. I would just fill in my student number on a test. And when it was time to get my exam back, it would get handed to me in person. And I'm going, so they're taking note. All I had to do was just show up and keep working. In the past, you think that, by making noise, you'll get noticed. No, it's really the other way around. If you show up every single day and you're just committed to your craft and you try to give it your best, some days you're going to be excellent. Some days you're going to be not excellent in your own evaluation. Yeah. But that consistency is really what drives success. And then another powerful few things that came out of this undergraduate success where I started understanding, and this is all wonderful teaching. That's why I like to share it so audiences can understand how much power there is even in education when you excel at it. So I remember I had to have an exam deferred. Not an exam deferred, but I had, I think, 3 or 4 exams in a week, midterm exams. And I'm out talking to one of my professors and I'm like, he's a younger fellow. And I'm like, James, I have multiple exams this week, man. I'm like, can I just not write your test? Because I've already done 2 of his tests. I've already done well and the exam's coming up. And he's like, all right, let me see your schedule. I just show him my schedule. I'm like, look at all of this. Yeah. Like, don't worry, I'll just recalibrate your grade for that. Because again, and you can only do this when you have high grades, right? Absolutely. When you're dedicatedly showing up every day, not the high grades, but committed. That the grade is just a representation of your contribution of effort. Yeah. Then when I needed reference letters for grad school, every professor, I had an open door policy where I could just knock on their door. I didn't have to take office hours, nothing like that. Just again, because I started caring and the kinds of things they would share with me. And these are people that we often take professors as being slightly cold or not interested. And then, here's a professor sharing his experience where he's like, Kunal, I have 2 or 3 classes every semester with a couple hundred kids in each. How many of these kids don't care? So high. Explain explain to me, how am I supposed to show up and have that fire in me trying to find that student? Instead, if I see a student like you, I automatically know that there's a fire in there, and then it's up to me to nourish it. So they do it. It's just, you know what? They see such a large number of other side of the coin as well, that sometimes you have to really showcase that, hey man, I care, and they will automatically work for you. So I would have professors writing, doing whatever I needed. When it came time to go into grad school, I have a master's in financial economics from the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto, the top program in the country. Everyone in my class was a summa cum laude graduate, and I finished top 5 in that class.
Nice.
So it's like you're taking butter and churning it into exquisite French butter now. I don't know, whatever analogy you want to use.
More like compound butter with all the herbs and
some truffles in there, right? So just make that fancy. And then the white truffles, the fancy ones. And I remember when I was getting into grad school, I got accepted into McMaster, which was my undergraduate program.
Right.
And Laurier, I applied to 3 master's programs. 2 of them admitted me, and one, U of T, the one I finally ended up accepting, had not admitted me. I was on the waiting list there. So the first university sends me an offer. I'm driving home when I read this. This is on my BlackBerry days. And I read my scholarship offer, $17,000 to go do my master's. And I'm howling because here's a kid who's been kicked out of school. And like I said, take that into thing. Like 2.5 years ago, I'm not even in university. And here I am, school's paying me money to come study there. And I'm just going, what? Then I go talk to my office staff at the McMaster Economics Department. And again, I became friends with, they're human beings, just like you and I, that's all. Like, then you realize your professor likes hockey. He likes to drink a beer, as does the staff. They see so many people that you have to put the effort on yourself for them to connect with you. They're not going to connect with you automatically. But once you do, they're human beings. I have their phone numbers still. We still message each other. It's really lovely to have this. But I got this experience from my undergrad, and I love sharing. It's not the victories, but what care did. And this will vary based on the relationship you have with your community or whoever, whatever it is you're doing. But by sincerely caring and showing up and giving it your all, the champions do love that, and they do notice it, and they do pay for it. So anyway, I get my scholarship offer from Laurier, which is for, I think, $17,000 or something. And then I show it to the Mac lady, and she's like, that's it? And I'm like, what do you mean that's it? Like, and she's like, oh, you got a higher offer from Mac. And so she showed me offers beforehand. They hadn't officially released them. Like, the letters weren't formally sent out. But again, being their alumni, being a top alumni, having their relationship, she lets me in on the number I'd got from Mac. So I got more money from my old university. Same school that kicks me out is now willing to pay me more than the next best school to be their student. So I call up the first university, Laurier, and I'm like, hey guys, I just got a better offer from them. They upped my scholarship. So for people that are looking for, if you're lucky enough to have been admitted to multiple schools, you do know that you can leverage, just as you can leverage a job offer for a higher pay, you can leverage a scholarship offer.
It's that competition that nobody talks about.
But you could do it. It's something that I didn't know I could do it until I physically tried it, right? It's not something that talks about. And then a really big part of and I'll go back in a second to something else that I just really remember. It was very useful. Yeah. So I get my Laurier offer gets up, and I'm like obviously feeling like the greatest. Like I feel like I'm like Mike at this point, right? I'm only missing the shoes. That's all. And then I talked to my professor, who was the head of the department in economics, and he said, Kunal, if you went to Laurier or Mac, you'd be top of your class. But if you went to U of T, you'd be in the bottom third. And that really got me salty. I'm going, really? After all of this, you think I'm that bad? That your own training is that poor that you think my abilities would rank me in the bottom third of the cohort? So obviously got a little bit mad at that. And then I got into U of T. U of T didn't even offer me a scholarship, but I chose that solely because of the fact that I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be around such a high level audience that my professors feel I'm going to be around more superior talent, that's where I need to be. One of the best decisions I think I've taken ex post. It was the number one program in the country, and just what some of my fellow colleagues are doing now. They truly run corporate Canada. So to have friends who are in these influential positions that are former colleagues and classmates of yours is a really wonderful luxury to have and enjoy these benefits ex post. But what really started all of this was I had a TA when I went back and I was focused. Your TAs are your entryway into the professors. So a lot of people don't value how important those TA sessions are. But again, at this point, I had to go and be needy as when I was a student. I was nerdy. So I'm showing up to this TA and I'm talking to him. And remember, he tells me that, listen, if you want to do well, focus on these core subjects, specifically statistics, because statistics really helps in a lot of the business world. And then the best advice he gave me was, he's like, don't take classes based on the title of the course. Take classes based on the professors. Because a great professor will take the most boring sounding course and make it the most amazing experience ever. But I like you're rolling your eyes because you're like, this man is spitting truth. I just didn't have all this knowledge. But this is something that was such a wonderful lighter. And then that's how I started picking my curriculum. I would research professors, see who are tenured, see what their research areas are, see which their passions lie, and be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take his class, regardless of what the class sounds like, because the value I'm going to get from it is going to be tremendous. And his value in his community is going to be very high because he's going to be an expert in that. So now if I want that reference letter to have weight and it's coming from somebody who's valued in this community, it's going to go far. When I got into U of T and I spoke with all my U of T professors, they told me, they're like, hey, the reason we admitted you was because of your reference letters. And even at U of T, I was a part of the student unions. I was friends with all my professors. I played squash with them. Right? So I continued those relationships. And it's been one of the most wonderful serving things, as I transitioned into my corporate career.
That is such a refreshing story because it's that iceberg analogy. Everybody always talks about the success up top. Nobody talks about all the battles, the scars, the struggles, and everything else. The Indian culture, the Nigerian culture, or I should say the African continent in a whole, is that we value education. And, when you talked about your struggle of having to tell your parents, and I so resonate with that. And it's not where you start, it's where you end up. And sometimes you really do have to be humbled. You have to get knocked down a few pegs for you to like, okay, I kind of need to sit up and the time is now. Right? And thank you for sharing that journey. And we are definitely going to have a second part, everybody, because there's so many questions I want to ask. However, we had an agreement before we got on, so Kunal knows. So I'm going to have Kunal come back and we can talk business because I really want to talk about growth. How you and your partner position yourself to grow to 200x your growth. For software, I'm also a tech founder. So there's a lot of questions that I have on that side. And for people that are, in the tech founding space that do want to break out and make an impact with founding something so useful. So we are going to have a second bit. So Kunal is not running away. I know how to contact him. I'll reach him. So, so thank you for being here and thank you for sharing that knowledge. So please let us know what you think. We had a very healthy conversation and let us know if this was useful. And yes, food, meal deals. If you're traveling, meal deals. And also advocate for your hotel to reach out and have a QR code because as an avid traveler, the food can get boring. So this was great. Thank you, Kunal, for being here. We're going to definitely talk again.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful afternoon and look forward to coming back on your show. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Avik Beck's podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the discussion. So join us on social media or drop us a message. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and keep pushing the boundaries of your world.